Welcome back, students. We're sitting in 900 BC on turn 79. And we're still about 570, 540 years away from the birth of Alexander. So we are still under the rule of his ghost. Or rather, we're still under the rule of whoever is guiding his ghost, which would be his sentience from the future. Perhaps after his death, which would explain why we are currently suffering and lagging behind the other civilizations. As by the end of his rule, Alexander was quite mad, power mad as well as just plain mad, and not a very efficient leader. At one point during his final campaign through the Middle East, every city that he conquered, he renamed. But the interesting part is that he renamed all of them to Alexandria, which can be a little confusing. And a friend of mine mentioned, and I feel that this is an apt comparison, George Foreman, who has, I think, approximately 4 dozen children, all named George Foreman. So you have to wonder if there's some kind of connection between them that would lead towards that coincidence that we're seeing. Now, our warriors up here were triumphant, and we just saw Almaty, friends of ours, taking care of those final spear-wielding barbarians. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue on into the future and see how far we can get. Now, our workers are currently getting some horses ready for us so that we'll have them in time, hopefully, for the birth of Alexander. And as you can see from here, we are actually happy now, thanks to the influx of silks, which are a luxury resource, and which make calendars, as we've learned. So I need to see if we can connect somehow our two... it's not letting me connect through here. I'd very much like to, but it's just not letting that happen. We need to create... There, finally. Now we've connected Sparta and Athens in terms of their influence, and that essentially cuts off the people living over here from this part of the peninsula. So hopefully they will not be able to extend their influence over these city-states. It's important for us because we are going to need to rely on those city-states throughout the game, and rather throughout history, much as the Greek did throughout history with their famed city-states. So let's continue on. Sparta is very slowly constructing its own hoplite. Our Athenian hoplites, as we've seen, were very strong and destroyed that barbarian encampment just without even thinking twice, just completely ruined them forever. And that was nice. So there's not much that's going on right now. We're gonna move through the next section of history fairly quickly because honestly it's pretty boring. It's pretty boring.
There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance.
Well, there we go. That's from Socrates. Socrates, of course, being a very famous philosopher and the founder of the Socratic method, in which one tells stories in order to teach something that's popular, but not always the most effective way of teaching people. Most studies find now that students learn better simply by asking questions, and by doing things, receiving visual stimulus, all kinds of activities and anything really other than rote learning and lecture, which have been proven to be the least effective methods of education, which is why it's rather disheartening to know that those are the most common forms of education practiced in our schools. And it's easy to lay the blame for that on the teachers, but I think it's important to recognize that teachers are really at the mercy of not only the administrators and the school board and the government and the Ministry of Education, but also of parents. And parents expect certain things, and they expect that Socratic method. And they expect rote learning. And they expect grades, and they expect their children to receive standardized tests, which are completely useless, and basically to become automatons, in no way prepared for the real world which they are going to encounter once they've left high school. Unless, of course, they go on to college, in which case being spoken at and asked to take notes and memorize things will serve them well. Universities and colleges are quite far behind high schools in terms of actual effective delivery of information these days. So, masonry. Do we need construction? Well, we do need happiness. On the Circus Maximus, yeah, that would be handy. But I did mention that we were going to learn mathematics, and so that's what we're going to do as our next endeavor as a nation. So, here we go, moving into 8:25. It seems time is slowing down. Yes, time is definitely slowing down. So the Great Library was built in a land we have not yet discovered, which is bad. That's very bad, actually. We were hoping to get that free advancement, but it seems we are not going to see it. We really don't need you to go that way. That does not make sense. It's already been explored. Sometimes the simulation gets caught up in its own enthusiasm and forgets the historical realities of our situation. So, Montezuma has entered the medieval era. Goodness, Montezuma is moving right along. I think it may have been him who created the Great Library, if he's moving along that quickly. So that's worrying that Montezuma is that powerful. But we're just going to do the best that we can. And at this point, we're going to see if there's anything useful that we can create. The Oracle. This is a free social policy. That could be handy. Stonehenge would be great engineer points. Now the library will give us extra science. That will increase the speed of our research. Now libraries are important to the people of Greece for many different reasons. Not least of all, the knowledge that libraries promote. But of course also, I thought we were friends with Warsaw. Well, let's head down here then. But also the sense of community that a library creates, and the sense of academia, which can be alienating, but really you have to take the good with the bad where these things are concerned. Now, what shall we build next? In Sparta, a settler is recommended, as is a scout. I'm not sure how effective either one will be, but I am tempted to improve this city instead, though that will take a long time. Yes, I don't think we can afford to do that right now. Now the trireme, is going to take a very long time also, so that's not something that we can afford right now. So we are going to work on a settler. And while that settler is being created, we're going to seek out some new place to make our next city. We're going to see if we can find the location where the Greek historically settled their third city. Okay, so these warriors are all kitted out now. We are going to send them down to Sparta. And these gentlemen, we need to move over here. Very good. And onwards and upwards we go. Now Almaty has gifted us a unit as a show of respect, a show of solidarity between our two nations. In return, I'm going to provide them a gift of gold. Oh, I'm not. I thought we could give them a smaller gift. But very little we can do for them right now. We're still friends, which is good. This unit is going to head over to Athens for now, where he will be garrisoned until we can figure out what exactly we'd like to do with him. Now, we're just about out of time for this video, and I am of course going to ask you as usual to get out there and stretch your legs. Find something beneficial to do. Get some exercise. Since you've been stretching your mind while watching these videos, it's time to stretch out your sinews as well. So, we have a message from one of our city-states, Warsaw. They'd like to see a great merchant. Now, I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon, but it's nice of them to have such faith in us. Gonna move right along. Okay. Now we can see our hoplites are exploring out this way. Almaty would like to see a great general. Also unlikely. But, again, it's nice that they think highly of us. Now this hoplite, we can't enter Warsaw. That's very upsetting. We'll have to see if we can find some way past, because we need to get in there. Ah, I see. It simply didn't want us to enter the city of Warsaw. That makes sense. Now we're going to take a break here. If you enjoyed and were edified by this lesson, please leave a comment, rate the video, and if you would like to learn more over the course of the next few weeks, please subscribe. And of course, let me know what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of. If you want me to skip over some of these parts of history, we can do that as well. So get out there, get some exercise, and we'll be back soon.